let's work backwards, because Saturday afternoon, I'm at my son's soccer game, and he's playing in an indoor league. Both sons are in an indoor league in the winter. And on Friday, when the news came out about Fury-Usyk, as one in my position usually does, I started to dig around. What's the new date? Is there going to be a new date? Is Usyk going to fight someone else? On February 17th? Is he going to fight Filip Hrgovic? Is the card going to remain intact? There's big names like Jai Opetaia and Joe Cordina on the card. So what's going to happen with that card? And so I started digging around. Hey, is Tyson available to speak? Is this guy available to speak? This is what when a big piece of news hits, a la this one, Dustin Poirier, you try to get them on the show. For me, getting them on the show is bigger than breaking the news, because that's like a real tangible thing that, you can own, so to speak. More fun. Nothing really came of that when I was digging around on Friday. Then on Saturday, while I'm at the soccer game, I get a call from Saudi Arabia asking if we had a show today, meaning Saturday. Said no. When's the next show? Monday. All right, we'll get back to you. Get another call. This, by the way, in case everyone's wondering, and I know it's the number one thing on your mind, my son was cooking out there. I mean, he scored a hat trick. It was incredible. And then he said to me afterwards, he felt like I wasn't watching, and I had to explain to him what was going on. So then they said, could you do a show today? I said, I think so, even though I wasn't really quite sure that we could do it. I didn't know who was available, who wasn't available. But, in those moments, you have to say yes and hope for the best. Luckily, everyone who needed to be available was available. So that was huge. So then they said, okay, we're willing to do a show, and it will be Tyson Fury joining from Saudi Arabia alongside Mr. Turki Alalshikh, and then Oleksandr Usyk and his manager, Igas Klimas, will join us from Spain, all at the same time. Can you pull this off? We've done remote shows before where I've been out, but the rest of the crew was here. We've done shows that were live to tape where we've all been away, and then we just kind of put it together, or Connor put it together, Frank, everyone helps, and then they upload it. But we've never done a show where all the particulars are away and it's also live. And, oh, by the way, we had to do this in 2 hours tops, max, maybe even less, 145, test in an hour, do another test, fake stream. I mean, it was a lot. The real MVP of the entire situation was my longtime friend and colleague, E. Casey Leiden, who I've been working with for a long time, but don't usually work with on these types of things, because we do the show from here and he's in California, and he does a lot of the other live streams for MMA fighting. So I never really used the technology that he was going to use to do all this. And I mean, it's one thing if it's just me and Eric and Connor talking. It's another when you have what I, believed was going to be a perturbed Oleksandr Usyk and a perturbed Tyson Fury over the fact that they just lost, I don't know, $60 million. I know Tyson's supposed to make that. Maybe Fury is making a little bit more. Maybe it's $30 million for Usyk. Who knows? Nevertheless, they're not probably in the best of moods. So, this has to work. So we test. I go back home. We test. Everything's good. And first, Usyk and his manager show up. Don't have a lot of words to share, which is fine. Fury shows up. They don't really talk to each other. We figure it all out. We have to make sure everyone's listening to each other, able to hear each other, able to talk to each other, that it's all working. And thank the good Lord up above. Thank the digital podcast, audio, video gods up above. They were smiling down upon us because the thing went live and there wasn't even a singular hitch, a singular issue. And I couldn't be more thankful to everyone involved. Everyone back there, Casey, the whole team. I mean, it was just unbelievable. So I hope you all enjoyed that. It was an absolute rush. And then to see the trickle-down effect. Then I'm watching the Conor Ben fight on DAZN, and there's my guy, Ariel Helwani, talking to Eddie Hearn about it, giving us the shout-out. It was great to see. And, yeah, still feel like the boxing press, for whatever reason, they're refusing to give credit where it's due. But it's all good. We don't need that as long as we bring you the exclusives. and that's what we'll continue to do. Appreciate everyone for joining us. That was every single person that was involved. That was huge. That was incredible. That was a rush, and it felt like true global news. So it all worked out. And what was great about it was when the news came out on Friday, there were conspiracy theorists out there saying that Fury was ducking, Fury was scared, and I mean even Usyk's team were contributing to that. He was scared, he was ducking, he was trying to avoid the fight, he cut himself on purpose. Honestly, I didn't believe any of those. And what we were able to accomplish, I think, on Saturday afternoon was A, the cut was real. B, we found out that the footage that was circulating of the elbow was in fact legit because Turki told us that they have cameras in his gym, which was, quite the revelation. And we also found out, most importantly, there is a new date. They will, in fact, fight on May 18th. Now, I understand that's in a little over 3 months' time, and I understand that there's some caution and trepidation there because it's a pretty gnarly cut. I think he said somewhere in the 15 to 18 stitches range. But that's the new date. It was also revealed that they're going to add another big fight to the card, that everyone who is scheduled to fight on the original February 17th date is going to get moved over unless they have a mandatory that they need to fulfill. And, oh, by the way, if one of them pulls out of that date, they're going to have to pay the opponent $10 million out of their own pocket. It's not, the promoters, it's not Saudi, it's none of them who's paying it. It's the fighter who'll have to pay the $10 million, which is just wild. We've never really seen anything like that before. So that was kind of wild. And, when you're doing something like this, it's a tricky game. You have to ask this guy, you have to do the dance where you ask one side a question, then the other. And then, there's back and forth and you have to lay out. It's not about you, it's about them. And again, like I said, there wasn't a lot of, it was a little frosty, but there were a couple moments where things kind of popped off. And in particular, between Tyson Fury and Klimas, who is Usyk's manager and who was the one that was really, throwing the shots on Friday and questioning the injury. Here are two highlights that I want to share in case you missed it, and the full thing is up on the MMA Fighting YouTube channel under the live tab. It's a fascinating thing to witness, at least for me, and of course I was a part of it, so a little bit biased. But here's the first one where initially I thought when I was asking Klimas about his accusation that the cut wasn't real or that Fury was being a coward, I thought he was telling to me, do you want to get cut? And I misheard or I misinterpreted it. What he was really saying was like, when there's a will, there's a way. But I couldn't hear perfectly, and so I misheard, and that's why I said, me? Is that what you were just playing there?
Who, me?
Someone said me. I don't know. Maybe I'm losing hearing. I don't know. Is that a new drop? It's not a
new drop. Yeah.
Can I hear it? Who, me? That's a good one. That's a good one.
Get used to it.
I love it. I love it. Anyway, here's that moment.
Mr. Klimas, I'd be remiss if I don't ask you. You appear to have said some very strong words regarding the cut. I believe you are obviously very upset, but you referred to Tyson as a coward for the cut. Clearly, we see the cut, and it seems like it was a mistake. Can you elaborate on your feelings that you disseminated to the media yesterday?
Maybe when you wanna get cut, you're gonna get cut.
Who, me?
No, that wasn't the question. The question is, why would you call him a coward if it was cut? That was all. That's the question.
Yes.
Because he didn't want to fight Usyk. He's scared.
Why would I not want to fight for the biggest payday in my life and put 10 weeks in a training camp? Why? Why would I not want to fight?
That's why you didn't want to fight him last time. That's why you didn't want to fight him.
No, you pulled out. He pulled out last time.
Okay, so that was the first highlight, one of many. Do you see how I misinterpreted that, Frank? I mean, it sounded to me like he was saying, maybe we're going to cut you and see how you like it. But in the end, what I gathered upon watching it again, he was saying, if you want to get cut, you can get cut, meaning he did it on purpose, right?
Me?
That's 100% what he meant. When I was watching it live, when you were like, who, me? I was just like, oh, no. He's saying,
oh, yeah.
you want to get cut, you'll get cut. And that's how he wanted to get out of the fight.
I mean, Klimas talks good shit.
Yeah, by
That
the
was
way,
a really good line.
He'll probably cut you too. It doesn't really matter. How
Yeah.
you do it.
By the way, why is Eric like off to the left like that? What's with the framing?
He's leaning left these days.
We'll get it sorted. Don't worry about it.
All right. I like it. It's a little
It's even
artsy.
grayer. It looks even more
Artsy?
monotone behind him.
Let's see now. Oh, there we go. All right.
Yeah, now I got a little trickle effect in there.
Was this worth it? Was it worth it to point this all out so we?
1,000%. It was gonna.
Me?
Okay. Here's the other moment. At the end, I'm trying to wrap it up, and I'm trying to see how much more I could squeeze out of this orange. And it seems like Tyson and Usyk are on pretty good terms, but Tyson had one parting shot for Mr. Klimas.
Rodriguez, never call me a coward again. I've had 35 professional fights. I've been boxing 18 years of my life. I've climbed off the canvas 10 times off the biggest punches in history to win. Never a coward. Never back down from any man in my life. And if any man calls my wife a bitch, I take his fucking teeth out. Do you
I
understand
didn't
me?
call your wife a bitch. I didn't call your wife a bitch. I don't do.
He's got a bitch to
I
hit him in
don't.
the
I
face
don't do
with a
that. I
frying
don't do
pan.
that shit. I don't do that shit.
Well, I'll apologise
Hey,
for
shit-
that, then, because I
shit-
focus on about my
shit
wife,
happens.
and I'm no
Shit
fucking coward.
happens.
I boxed all my life.
Shit
I
happens.
boxed nobody.
Shit happens,
How
brother.
can you call me a
Then-
coward? You've never boxed in your life. How am I a
I
coward?
did.
I've had 35 professional fights. I'm a 2-time undefeated heavyweight champion. I'm the second longest reigning lineal champion in history. How am I a coward?
Let's see the answer.
Let's see the coward.
No, let's see the answer in the 18th of May.
I mean, there's so much there. It was high drama, high theater at its finest. The quote, which was attributed to Igas Klimas, was, and he said this reportedly to the Ring magazine on Friday, Fury's an effing coward who will do anything not to face Usyk. And he asked his bitch to hit him with a frying pan in his brow. You can quote me word for word on that. So it seems like Tyson thought he was referring to his wife and calling her the B word. But I guess what Klimas is saying that, like, oh, he asked like one of his dudes who's a bitch to hit him in the face with the frying pan. What do you guys think? Because I'll be honest, upon reading it the first time, I too would, I thought he was talking about his wife too, but I guess now I could understand that he didn't mean the.
It sounds like he's referring to his wife hitting him with a frying
pan, right?
Me and Rick were just laughing back here. The funniest part, he's just like, he says that, and then he's like, and you can quote me on that.
Yes.
And then Tyson brings it up. He's like, nah, I didn't say that.
Right. I thought the frying pan made it seem like he was referring to a wife in the kitchen, no?
I mean, he said he asked his bitch, didn't he? Like that seems like he's referring to his wife, his spouse, his significant under,
sure,
or someone.
Did you say significant
Yes.
under? That's what I heard.
Other.
But I mean, it could be.
What are you,
any
the
sort of
fucking grammar
underling?
police over there, Frank? Jeez Louise.
I mean, these people back here.
Screeching halt.
These people back here won't let anything fly. I mean,
Yeah.
you should hear during some of these interviews, someone has one minor slip of the tongue during a 45-minute interview. They're like, oh, man. It's just nothing can fly back here. I apologize, Frank. Significant other. Yeah, that's what it sounded like to me.
Who, me?
I don't know. The bottom line was Klimas
I mean,
and Tyson were tremendous together. Yes.
Yeah, and by the way, it seemed like Tyson was more upset about the coward part, right? Like he led with that. It wasn't he didn't start with, oh, you said this, the frying pan. He started with, you called me a coward. I've never been a coward in my entire life. You wouldn't know the difference. Don't say it. And I mean, I kind of get that.
Yeah, which is true. I mean, he's like he's the heavyweight champion of the world. Like, I don't think he's scared.
I saw some people
the
saying
idea of people being scared in the fight game is I'm so sick of it. I'm so sick of every fighter going to, or even manager going to, this person's scared. It's like, have we not gone beyond this? Have we not figured this out already?
Also, he's Tyson fucking Fury. He's
Yeah,
the
that's
lineal
what I'm
heavyweight
saying.
champion of the world. He's about to he's about to cash a check for $60 million in 2 weeks. You think he's like, nah, I'd rather not? What are you talking about? He got freaking walloped by Deontay Wilder and rose up from the ashes. Like,
I would get in there for $60 million with Oleksandr Usyk.
yeah.
Wouldn't last long, but $60 million, I'm getting in there. So I don't think Tyson Fury is going to have any issue doing that. I think the funniest part was Tyson Fury being like, all right, I'll apologize for that. Like immediately walking it
There was a
back.
lot of great moments that I saw afterwards. I saw Turkey doing a little shadow box there. He was fired up.
He was fired up.
He was throwing some shots at Gervonta. He revealed the $10 million thing. He dropped
revealed Bivol versus Beterbiev in the most casual way ever.
Yeah,
I think he's just
one of the most anticipated fights in recent memory. June 1st, on top of the Queensberry Matchroom 5-on-5. He offered Hrgovic a fight on the March 8th card. I mean, he was just on fire. He was fired up.
If Fury or Usyk pull out, in addition to the $10 million, they're going to give him offers to fight the next guy up. Like he's wheeling and dealing. He's making moves over here.
It was amazing.
I mean, you gotta respect the dude for how much he gets done. Like,
yes,
it's like the day after we get the fight called off, we now have a new date and all these other goodies that he dropped as well.
You know, someone asked me this question, which we could do 2 hours on. Why does it seem like in other sports, football, meaning soccer, golf, etc., why does it seem like people view Saudi Arabia as a nuisance, but yet you look at the comments on that channel, everyone's like, Turkey for president, make him the face of boxing, make him the face of boxing. And I said it's quite simple. In football, let's say you're a fan of Ronaldo or Mo Salah or Jordan Henderson or Benzema, etc. You view them as taking away your favorite stars from the Premier Leagues, so to speak, not just the Premier League, but whether it's League One or La Liga, etc. In boxing, they are putting together fights that would never have been made if not for them right now. You know what I mean? Like none of these fights would be made if not for them. So I think in boxing they're celebrated because, yeah, maybe you could make the argument, oh, this fight should be here as opposed to there. It should be here as opposed to there, this, that. But ultimately, you're sitting at home. Who cares where the fight is happening? In soccer, in golf, they're taking those guys. You know what I mean? It's viewed as more of a nuisance, for lack of a better word, than unifying it. Does that make sense?
It's almost like 100%. I think that's actually why. It almost feels like they're disrupting those leagues or those sports. Like you're going to get to watch your guys anyway. If you're a soccer fan or a golf fan or whatever it may be, you're going to get to watch those guys. Whereas we would probably not be watching Fury-Usyk if it wasn't for the efforts of Turkey.
It's 100% that, and it's also that combat sports is carny stuff at the end of the day. Like, these other sports have established systems, leagues, rules, all these things that can't kind of be disrupted, and that's why it is disruptive. In this business, it's highest bidder, and they're making it happen.
My only thing, so afterwards, I mean, it's a buzz. You get something like that out of the blue on a Saturday. It's a buzz. My only thing, when I was like sitting down and digesting it, I was like, man, is May 18th too soon? I mean, it is a pretty gnarly cut, and I think it would be devastating if they'd have to postpone. I'm not saying they are, and what the hell do I know? I'm not a plastic surgeon, a doctor, anything like that. But I have seen a lot of the boxing media suggest that this feels a little too soon. What do you guys think?
It sounds like they're on a deadline, no? Like,
yeah,
it sounded pretty urgent from Turkey to say, this is it, drop that date, it has to happen, or we're moving on. So I think there's really not much of a choice, right?
Yeah, let's see.
It has to happen.
3 months, 3.5 months.
It does change things a little bit, if only because, and I don't mind this, I don't mind the number one contender fight if it's really that going first, meaning when Ngannou and Joshua were going to fight, we would have known the outcome of this fight. Now, those two are hopefully going to have their fight on the 8th of March, and then hopefully they're sitting ringside, and I'm not really sure how Hrgovic is going to play into all of this. It doesn't really seem like, Turkey's all that worried about his place in the equation, but now we'll have to have that fight happen, and then we go on to the 18th of May, and we finally, hopefully, find out who wins between Tyson Fury and Oleksandr Usyk. So that was that. And again, it's on the podcast feed. It's on the YouTube channel. You can see it all for yourself. It was fascinating stuff. Let's go to Thursday now, because I thought Thursday was also fascinating for different reasons. At about 12 o'clock or so Eastern, we got the tweet from Dustin Poirier, I think we have it, where he said the fight was off. He was at ATT, said the fight is off, I'm still going to keep training. Now, let's take a few steps back. On the Monday after this fight against Benoit Saint Denis was announced, and I remember it. I was just about to go to bed. The Bills had just beaten the Miami Dolphins to win the AFC East. I'm buzzing. I'm on Twitter, and Dana drops 2 fights: DP versus BSD at 299, and Charles Oliveira versus Arman Tsarukyan at 300. And so everyone's buzzing. On this show, I was sitting here saying, it's important to note that sometimes these fights get announced and they're not done just yet. I have no problem telling you that I knew he had not agreed to it because I talked to him. Anytime these fights get announced, I always, if I have a good relationship with the people involved, I ask them, is this true? Is this accurate? Did you agree? I could tell you there's another fight on 300. One of the particulars has not agreed to yet. I'm not going to say which fight it is, and I'll tell you it's probably not a main card fight, but there's another fight on that card that was put out before one of the fighters agreed to, and as of this second, they have not agreed to it yet. And then once this story came out, several managers and fighters said, me too, me too, me too. And so I would check in every so often. Has it been rectified? Has it been agreed to? Has it been rectified? Has it been agreed? Now we get all the way to, what was that? I think February 1st that was. So 4 or so days ago, on the Thursday, the tweet comes out. And what was so interesting about it was now this started the snowball of, wait a second, they were promoting it. Tickets are on sale. It's one of the marquee fights on the card. It's the co-main event. Why would you do this? For whatever reason, Dana's in this mindset right now where he wants to break all the news. When he posted that text conversation with BSD, which he viewed as some sort of dunk over the media and our boy Guilherme Cruz, I didn't really see it revealing anything other than the fact that he tells the fighters not to announce the news. I shot it, stay quiet, and, we're going to put it out ourselves. BSD's involvement in the fight was never in question. We knew he was in. Poirier's involvement was in question. And nothing that he revealed backed the notion that DP was in. And so we're all talking about it. Hopefully this gets rectified. Hopefully it gets fixed. Hopefully, maybe this is public negotiation 101, and it ends up being just that. A couple hours later, we get the other tweet from DP saying, oh, jumped the gun, couldn't get a hold of my manager. It's all been rectified. I'll see you in Miami. And then, of course, there's the tweet right over there. All the zombies come out saying, you guys got it wrong. The media got it wrong. First of all, you're all a bunch of idiots. You're all a bunch of sheep. Anyone who believes that just doesn't understand how the fight game works, and dare I say business works as well. The media got nothing wrong. It was never agreed to. He put it out there that he was out. They fixed it because they didn't want egg on their face. Them's the facts. You don't want to believe that? You want to call us haters? Fine. But we didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. Guilherme didn't do anything wrong. No media member who talked about this did anything wrong, including the ones that talked about other fights that had been revealed or announced and hadn't been agreed to. Just like the Sean Brady fight, he was injured when they put that out there. And so there's this rush to put out this news to announce these fights. I don't know if it's because they want to offset other news. I don't know if it's because they use this news as currency. I know better than anyone. I used to take part in this transaction. I benefited from it. They tried to hurt me, with it when I was at ESPN, giving it to the other reporters to try to diminish my value. Now, maybe because of their relationship with some of those reporters, maybe because they don't want to give stuff to ESPN, because they're in a bit of a negotiation with them now, maybe because they want to show everyone that we could do it ourselves. I don't know what it is. They want to put it out there. But I can assure you, when you see those announcements, the fights sometimes aren't signed, sometimes aren't verbally agreed, sometimes aren't even close to being verbally agreed. And this is what happened here. And so they can go around saying the media did this is what they do, this is what they make up, all this other bullshit. None of it is true. We talk to people. We talk to sources. We talk to managers. We talk to fighters. You could believe it or not, but we weren't wrong on this one. We were not wrong. And then you'll see, the other zombies come to their defense and say, look, like Ali putting out Vicente Luque's contract and his tax ID number, his contract, what does that prove? Again, no one said Vicente was not in. Brady was the one we were talking about. DP was the one we were talking about. What are you guys proving? Just because one side of the equation, I would hope at least one side of the equation is in, If both sides aren't in, then we have a real problem. If one side is in, all right, at least you got one side to agree, and you feel like you'll be able to get the other side to agree. It's a formality. The public pressure will get him to agree. I don't know what the line of thinking is. That's a question for them. But this is a tale as old as time. They have been doing this. Trust me, I know. I used to benefit from this relationship. I know. Putting out stuff before fighters agree to it is a practice as old as time. It ain't going to change. If it's verbally agreed, that's one thing. But to put something out there before someone officially agrees to it is just not the right way of doing business. I'll talk as myself, as a freelancer. Let's say I'm in talks with Outlet X to do a show for them, and we haven't quite agreed to everything. I'm not even talking about signing, because sometimes I'll do stuff without even signing. There are some things that I've done the whole job and I didn't sign anything. But, there's a word, there's a handshake, you feel good about it. If we're talking about X, Y, and Z, and we haven't agreed to it, and they come out and say, Ariel Helwani's doing a show for us, I wouldn't feel too good about it. I would feel like that's a bit of a sneaky move. And so this happens. I don't know why it happens. I'm baffled by it, but it just shows once again the difference between boxing and MMA, and in particular UFC. Do you think Eddie Hearn and company would do this to an Anthony Joshua? Do you think Top Rank would do this to a Teofimo Lopez or a Keyshawn Davis? It's more of a promoter-fighter relationship as opposed to a employee-employer relationship. You're going to fight on this date. And if you don't fight on this date, we're going to punish you, we're going to sideline you, or we're going to announce this and hope that the public pressure will get you to agree to it. It's the fight game. And it's been happening since I started covering this sport over 15 years ago. This is nothing new. Credit to DP, and I don't know what he's going to say on the show, and my feeling is he's going to move on and not talk about it, and I totally understand that. No one wants to, be in some sort of conflict with their promoter or whomever they have a business relationship with. He seems to be happy. He got what he wanted, but he had to do this in order to finally get what he wanted, because this was dragging out over a month. I think the announcement came on January 10th, and we're almost a month out from the fight. Crazy. And I couldn't believe that people's takeaway was, you guys got it wrong. You see, it was on all the whole time. Oh my God. Sometimes I want to bash my head against the wall when I see some of these takes. Now, over time, it seemed like the majority of people understood what had just happened. A good old-fashioned public negotiation, a standoff, if you will. But definitely some people who are, who are drinking the Kool-Aid, who are like, no, it was on all the time. Show me the text conversation. He showed us the one with BSD. Let's see the one with Poirier's team. Let's see that one, if we got it wrong. If we're so off on this, if we're so wrong on this, let's see that one. Can we see it? No Photoshop. No cap. So anyway, the good news is it all worked out. Poirier's happy. UFC's happy. BSD's happy. But, no one is immune. No one is immune. And they'll get mad that I'm saying this, and, the house managers will get mad, but they all know it's true. They all know it's true. And this is just the fight business. No one said it's rainbows and lollipops. This is the fight business. And in particular, I would say this is the MMA business. This is just the way it is, unfortunately. So that was something that happened on Friday, 2 cents there. And we'll obviously talk to DP later in the show. And then what about everyone losing their minds on Friday regarding The Rock and Roman Reigns? Rick, we were talking about this on Monday. The internet is in a tizzy. The most disliked video in WWE history, that's what they're saying. The Rock coming back. Now, I think that this is a very vocal minority, but they're very vocal. It's social media. I think sometimes social media thinks that they can really affect change, and sometimes they can. I don't think they're going to get WWE to change course on this one. They're going to try their best. I told you last week I was more invested in the Cody story. I want to see it happen. But, I mean, from a business standpoint, you can't deny The Rock finally coming back to go up against Roman Reigns is the bigger business fight. I would just say sometimes it's good to look at these things as a TV show or as a movie and wait to see how it unfolds. WrestleMania is a little over 2 months away. Maybe there's another layer to this. Maybe it's, as I've seen suggested, Roman Rock on night 1, Cody Roman on night 2. Maybe it ends up being a triple threat, which I doubt, but maybe. I feel like we need to wait to see how this whole story, part of the pun, unfolds before totally crapping on it, because I don't think it's fait accompli that Seth Rollins is going to be ready for WrestleMania. But man, oh man, are people mad about this. And it's kind of a bummer because I feel like 2 years ago, when it was Roman Brock at WrestleMania in Texas, people would have said, oh, sign me up, because Roman Brock we had seen a gazillion times, and that's really when people wanted to see it happen, including myself. Last year, Cody Roman was big. It felt big. And again, more fuel to the fire that Cody should have won last year in LA. I will maintain till the end of my days that it should have been Sammy winning in Montreal and then Cody beating Sammy, or a triple threat match in LA, and then you get a year of Roman and Rock, and then it culminates at WrestleMania 40. Roman, Rock, head of the table, tribal chief. Cody defends his title against someone else. That's what it should have been. Still don't understand why they didn't do it. Roman worked like 5 days this year and had an incredible promo on Friday. Just amazing. Just like going after everyone. But there was no reason for him to win. And I think wouldn't have diminished a Rock match. And you would have had Cody finish his story and not be in this predicament. Now they're going to have to deal with the vocal minority, and they might get even bigger. And I feel like I can assure you, I don't think they're going to budge. If their plan that is set, if it is in fact that, if it is, and I would love to see Cody, come the Monday after Mania, I would love to see Cody as the champ. That's what I would love to see. But if this is in fact what they're doing, and not the champ of the other belt, the Roman belt, if this is what they've decided, I don't think they're going to change. I really don't. Maybe I'm wrong, but I really don't think they're going to change. Did you see the reaction to this, Rick?
I did. You know, my number one concern, my chief concern was just
the belt?
The belt, the sanctity of the belt.
But you know this is all about the belt, right? Oh, the anger is about the belt. You know that, right? It's not because people are dying to see Cody versus Roman.
But the whole thing, like, The Rock is here. What more? Like, what more could you ask for? The Rock is coming back to do this for them.
It's all about Cody finally becoming champion, the champion of the belt. That
I suggested this, and I don't know this.
His dad never won. Yes.
But is this not by design? Do you not feel at this point it's by design?
What does that mean?
The anger, the frustration, the movement, it's building and it's making Cody more popular. It's only helping Cody's case to then eventually compete with The Rock or Roman Reigns.
Eventually, but I think everyone wanted it at WrestleMania 40.
Yeah, so make them wait.
Yeah, no, I mean, trust me, they're making them.
It's working.
It's working. Look, there's a way. There's Cody Rhodes is a bigger start today because people think that he's been screwed.
Yeah.
Than he was on Thursday.
Daniel Bryan thing. Just repeat it.
I just think people are starting to lose their patience, and they wanted him to be the guy to be. Look, if it happens at SummerSlam, then great. People are upset. And I agree. By the way, I agree with you. The Rock versus Roman is big time, and it feels befitting of WrestleMania 40. Dare I say, it's WrestleMania 40 worthy, and it's something that 300, which is happening,
it's missing that one
the following week, right? Is searching for at the moment. And so I totally get it, but it was fascinating to see at least the internet wrestling community lose their minds, be angry, be spiteful, be so mad about this when it's the freaking Rock versus Roman Reigns, a match that we've been talking about for, I don't know, 3-4 years now, since 2020, 2019, 2018, who knows?
I'll say this. I bet there were as many tweets of The Rock and Roman Reigns facing off in the ring, because I saw a lot of them, as there were about Cody. Like, people will fall in line because it's still The Rock versus Roman Reigns. The 2 years, however long this Cody Rhodes storyline has been going on, flash back to that moment, it was still The Rock and Roman Reigns that people were asking for. Now, the delayed gratification is coming, and you're getting it. Down the line, you'll get the Roman Reigns versus Cody, or maybe the Rock versus Cody. Who knows? Who knows how big it could potentially get? But yeah, I don't know. It's all a work. Like what is the?
It's a TV show. Let it play out.
A TV show.
So everyone losing their minds about that. Conor Benn comes back on Saturday in front of a pretty small crowd, it seemed like, at the Cosmopolitan, wins, but not really, I mean, everyone under the sun called him out afterwards, maybe because they think it's easy work. I think the Eubank fight is, I know Eddie is still going after it, but I don't feel anything there at the moment.
But what else would you do at this point? It's the best and biggest fight you can do.
I want to see him fight a 47-pounder, a 54-pounder.
Look, it's looking more and more like the size would be a massive issue. I'm definitely not concerned about the Eubank side of it. I know there's a lot of stuff out there about, oh God, how dangerous it would be for him. But I'm confident that if they could find a nice middle ground, that fight would still be one to make. But man, I don't know. I'll tell you this, it's losing steam for me. The longer this goes on, it is losing steam. Like, I would have liked to see it this fight. Now I'm starting to think, oh man, maybe Eubank is too big for him, and I'm losing faith in the idea of it anyway.
Is it still currently ranked number 1 in your power
It's
ranking?
still number 1, but it's
number 1 out of any fight, out of any
The
sport.
story is just too good, but it's shaky right now. It's shaky.
It is crazy how reminiscent this whole saga is to John Jones, maybe 8 or so years ago, when John had the issue post UFC 200, actually no, pre UFC 200, and he had that fight against OSP, and people are like, post USADA John isn't the same. Innocent or not, it feels like people are saying the same things about Conor Benn post multiple failed drug tests in the lead up to the Chris Eubank fight. So it's a tough spot for him. He said on the show, first round knockout, everyone says that, but it wasn't exactly the, blow the doors off the
flashy performance.
Yeah, it wasn't that. So we'll see what happens there. And then UFC on Saturday, Nasruddin Imavov against Roman Dolidze. Solid fight. I maintain it shouldn't have been the main event.
Right.
It was okay. Imavov and Chris Curtis stole some of the headlines. Imavov wins, and tough loss for Dolidze. I'm sure Georgian MMA fans are hoping that Merab and Ilya have more success, and they were both there, which was pretty cool. Renato Moicano with the win over Drew Dober, like I said. What about Randy Brown with that beautiful knockout of Muslim Salikhov? Natalia Silva continues to win and appears to be a potential star in the making at 125 pounds. Elias Khab Kizirev and Mahmoud Muradov ended in an eye poke, ended in a no contest. It lasted just 11 seconds. It was a pretty big bummer, but I do not blame them for ending the fight. Charles Radke had a blistering knockout and a strange post-fight press conference. What about Molly McCann? Tremendous stuff from Molly McCann in her 115-pound debut, defeating Diana Belbita. She wins via first-round armbar. Delighted for Meatball Molly, and I loved her post-fight interview. She was understated. She was humble. She was laser-focused. It was great to see. Charles Johnson got the win as well, the unanimous decision win. Young Lee got a decision win, as well. Luana Carolina had a nice finish over Julia Stolyarenko. Markel Medeiros had a win, and Jamal Pogus had a win as well. But then, what about Themba Gorimbo, who has been quite the story for the last several months? A 32-second win over Pete Rodriguez, a knockout, a blistering knockout, followed by some ground and pound, a beautiful overhand right, followed by some ground and pound. Just 32 seconds, he climbs to 12-4, and he has now won his last 2 UFC fights in a row. What a story he is. What a story he continues to be. Thanks for watching. We appreciate it very much. Hey, if you like this video, give us the old thumbs up. Subscribe as well. You could get many more of these videos on the channel, so please do that. We would love you forever if you did so.